The story opens with a spacecraft making a rough landing on an ancient version of Earth. The force of the arrival sends shockwaves through the environment, disturbing local wildlife. The vessel crashes into a lake, sending up a massive splash. Two humanoid figures clad in futuristic armor step out of the craft. One helps the other climb from the water, but the second figure collapses, clearly injured. As he fades out, he experiences fragmented visions, memories, perhaps, of a time before. When he awakens, the surviving astronaut finds his companion lifeless, the victim of a chest wound. From afar, a mechanical signal rings out a nearby AI unit still functioning despite the crash. The astronaut salvages the device and speaks to it in a foreign tongue, seeking knowledge about this unfamiliar world. He also inquires about other ships, but the AI informs him that there are no others nearby. Though disappointed, he prepares himself to receive a full planetary data, download details of its inhabitants, history, cultures, and dialects. The influx of knowledge overwhelms him, physically and emotionally. Emerging with a new sense of purpose, he trains with a high-powered weapon retrieved from the wreckage. As night falls, he buries his fallen comrade. With little else to go on, his mission becomes survival in this unfamiliar wilderness. Exploring deeper into the forest, he stumbles upon the carcass of a whale and a ravaged village nearby destroyed by something inhuman. Sensing eyes upon him, he attempts to flee, but a warrior confronts him, striking him down and knocking his weapon into a river. Unconscious, he is dragged to a Viking settlement encircled by timber defenses. Inside the grand hall, a young woman named Freya spars with her father, King Hrothgar. Freya resists pressure to marry Wulfgar, an ambitious man vying for the throne. Their duel ends when the king wounds Freya, then tends to her injury. Wulfgar's arrogance repels Freya, and she storms off. Wulfgar informs Hrothgar that a mysterious Mano like anyone they've seen was captured near a destroyed village. The astronaut is paraded before the villagers, who mock his strange appearance. Wulfgar takes him to a hut for questioning. The stranger gives his name as Kynan, and claims he comes from a northern island to hunt dragons. The Vikings are skeptical and suspect him of being behind the recent massacre. Kynan tries to escape, but is quickly overpowered. He makes another attempt using a heated iron bar, but is stopped when Freya arrives, sent by Wulfgar. Elsewhere, Hrothgar orders that Gunnar, the leader of the destroyed village, be found. Wulfgar hesitates due to old grudges, blaming Gunnar for his father's death. The king reminds him that vengeance only leads to ruin. Freya confronts Kynan, asking if he destroyed the village. He denies it. Kynan breaks free and attacks both Freya and her guard. He tries to escape again under cover of darkness, but an alarm halts his flight. Vikings rally, thinking Gunnar's forces are attacking. But no one is outside. The true enemy is already within. Chaos erupts as a monstrous, tentacled beast lays waste to the village. Kynan gives chase, though a pursuing guard is slaughtered by the creature. Kynan calls the beast Morwen, the very monster he was sent to hunt. The villagers capture Kynan again, tying him to a stone. Haunted by memories of Morwen devastating his home, he mourns his lost people. The next day, a kind-hearted village boy brings him bread. Leaders debate who's responsible for the prior night's destruction. Kynan is brought to Hrothgar, who demands answers about the dragon. He explains that Morwen destroyed his world, lured by light and sound. He confesses that he brought the creature here unintentionally. Just as his execution nears, Hrothgar intervenes. Though skeptical, the king believes Kynan may prove useful. Kynan insists on joining the hunt. They provide him a horse. Freya punches him for earlier. The group departs to hunt Morwen. On the journey, a blacksmith named Boromir offers Kynan a drink, which he spits out. Kynan warns Hrothgar that failure to kill the beast will doom the village. Wulfgar discovers more bodies and proposes splitting into teams. Kynan argues against it, saying they're safer together. Still, Hrothgar decides to move in pairs, and the hunt begins. During their search, a horse's severed head suddenly crashes down near Hrothgar and Boromir, leaving them stunned. Elsewhere, another pair of warriors discovers charred corpses lying at the entrance of a dark cave. As they approach cautiously, blood-curdling screams echo from within, prompting the others to rush toward the danger. Inside the cave, they come face to face with a massive, feral bear. A brutal battle breaks out. Though the creature is tenacious and powerful, Kynan lands the final strike with his sword. Impressed by Kynan's courage, Hrothgar decides to grant him freedom as a gesture of respect. That night, the villagers gather to celebrate their victory over the beast with a grand feast. Kynan, now wearing the village's traditional clothing, joins the celebration and is welcomed with cheers. While dining, he spots the young boy who once gave him bread. Grateful, Kynan lends him the sword used to kill the bear. On one condition, the boy must share his name. He responds simply, Eric. Hrothgar then tells Kynan that Eric is an orphan and now under the village's care. Soon, a game called Shields begins, and Kynan is challenged to participate. Warriors line up, holding shields to form a path. The goal, climb and crawl over them without falling. Kynan takes part but tumbles, landing on Boromir. Surprisingly, Wulfgar helps him to his feet, showing newfound respect. Later, Freya approaches Kynan and thanks him for saving her father. Kynan reveals that it wasn't the bear that destroyed his people, but a creature called Morwen, and it could strike again at any time. Suddenly, chaos erupts. Gunnar's warband launches a surprise attack on the village. Blades clash. Kynan and Freya fight side by side, cutting down several enemies. Hrothgar confronts Gunnar but is overpowered. Before Gunnar can strike the final blow, Kynan intervenes and drives him back. Gunnar's men retreat, but not before he shouts bitter accusations at Hrothgar, blaming him for the destruction of his people. As the village regroups, Freya tells Kynan about Gunnar's past, how Wulfgar's father once tried to unite the clans against a foreign threat, but Gunnar refused, branding himself a traitor in their eyes. Meanwhile, Gunnar's group prepares for another assault. One man steps aside to relieve himself and is ambushed by a creature lurking in the lake. Morwen, one by one, his men fall, believing they're under attack by Wulfgar. Left alone, Gunnar confronts the beast head-on. Back at the village, a few of Gunnar's men arrive, terrified and surrendering, begging for safety. Wulfgar suspects a trap and orders archers to prepare. Among the pleading men is Gunnar himself, bloodied, but alive, seeking refuge. The archers fire. Several are killed, but Gunnar survives. Kynan demands a ceasefire and opens the gates, allowing the survivors in. Just as Wulfgar prepares to strike Gunnar, a burst of blue lights is seen in the woods. They watch in horror as the light sees a man and consume him. The lights shift to red, revealing the monstrous form of Morwen, before it vanishes into the trees. Now everyone sees the true threat. In the Great Hall, tensions rise between Wulfgar and Gunnar. Gunnar tells them that attacking Morwen felt like hitting unbreakable stone. Kynan warns that fighting the creature in the open is suicide, they'll need to outsmart it. Wulfgar argues that Kynan is still an outsider, unworthy of trust. Kynan lashes out, reminding everyone that Wulfgar has been wrong about nearly everything, including the bear and Gunnar. They nearly fight, but Hrothgar steps in. The king sides with Kynan, ordering that his plan be followed. The next day, they begin constructing a trap at the village's entrance. Kynan asks for flammable substances and begins digging a deep pit masked to look like a cabin. Wooden spikes are planted in the pit, and it's filled with flammable oil. When everything is ready, Hrothgar offers Kynan a place among the village, an official member of their tribe. Meanwhile, a body from the previous battle stirs, surrounded by corpses. The man gasps, only to be slain by Morwen later. In Freya's home, she shares a meal with Kynan. He confesses the dark truth. His people were not explorers, they were conquerors. When they arrived in Morwen's homeland, they razed it to the ground with advanced weaponry. The last surviving Morwen were hunted like prey so the land could be colonized. Kynan reveals that his own family was granted a place there in exchange for helping wipe out the species. But during a mission, he discovered one Morwen had survived, stowing away on his ship. It was that same creature that destroyed everything and followed him here. Kynan blames himself for not detecting the creature earlier, but Freya comforts him, reminding him that no one could have predicted everything. To empower him for what lies ahead, she offers her family's ancestral sword. With Gunnar, now reluctantly allied with the village, the trap is set. The warriors open the village gates, and Kynan and Wulfie step into the darkness, hoping to lure out the beast. Seeing nothing, Kynan hurls a lit torch into the tree line, only to discover the Morwen standing right before them. Suddenly, the village priest appears, claiming to be a messenger of Lucifer, attempting to command the creature to leave. The Morwen rips him apart without hesitation. Kynan and Wulfie dash back toward the village, leaping over the trap zone, using shields as stepping stones. But Wulfie slips, falling into the pit along with the monster. The gates close behind them as flaming arrows are unleashed. Kynan dives into the pit, pulling Wulfie to safety through a hidden exit just before the pit explodes in a blaze of fire. But just when it seems the danger is over, a second, smaller Morwen sneaks into the village and attacks the women's shelter. Freya leaps into battle to defend them. Her father joins her but is quickly overpowered. The original Morwen emerges from the flames, more furious than before. Kynan and Wulfie engage, but even together they are outmatched. Gunnar jumps in to help, but the Morwen beheads him in an instant before vanishing again. Eric arrives, gasping, to tell QAnon that there is a second creature. QAnon and Wulfie rush to Freya, only to find her cradling her father's lifeless body. The next morning, the villagers begin evacuating by boat, fearing further attacks. Eric wants to stay behind with Kynan, but Kynan urges him to leave, promising they'll meet again. Kynan finds Wulfie in despair, convinced he no longer deserves to lead. Kynan insists they still have a battle to win. They gather a few brave warriors and decide to descend into the village's old well, believing it may lead to the Morwen's lair. Kynan asks Boromir to forge sturdier weapons. With Freya and Wulfie, he returns to his crashed ship to retrieve alien materials. Diving into the lake, Kynan manages to recover key items, but is ambushed underwater by a Morwen. Resurfacing, he finds their boat destroyed and only Wulfie floating nearby. Freya is missing. Using metal from the ship, Boromir forges a massive new sword. Kanan and the others descend the well into a cavernous maze. Freya awakens alone, imprisoned in the monster's nest, surrounded by corpses. She tries to flee, but a Morwen blocks her way. Before it can strike, the creature hears the intruders and leaves to intercept them. The group stumbles upon a lava-lit chamber and is attacked. They follow the Morwen to its lair, managing to injure the smaller one, though they suffer serious losses, including Boromir. Freya hears their voices and calls out. One of the wounded Morwen, now blind, returns. Guided only by sound, it begins its attack again. Freya tries to squeeze through a narrow passage, but it's too tight. Desperate, the group hands her the sword. She thrusts it into the creature, killing it instantly. As they regroup, they are shaken by the number of dead. The final Morwen, discovering the body of its kin, lets out a rage-filled cry and begins pursuit. The survivors reach the mouth of a mountain waterfall, trapped against a cliff. They attempt to climb, but the rock is too slick. Freya slips and is caught just in time. Meanwhile, Wolfie is attacked. Wounded but defiant, he lands a blow across the beast's face. In retaliation, the Morwen throws Wolfie's body at QAnon. Separating them, QAnon re-enters the cave and slices off one of the Morwen's limbs but fails to land a fatal blow. The monster retaliates, throwing him to the ground. As it prepares to finish him off, Freya arrives and distracts the beast. Kanan seizes the moment, but the creature grabs him, dragging him to the cliff's edge. Freya clings to QAnon while he's being crushed. With one final effort, he grabs his sword and severs the Morwen's hand, sending it plummeting into the abyss. They return to Wolfie, who lies dying. He asks if the monster is truly gone. When Kanan confirms it, Wolfie offers him the royal medallion, acknowledging him as king. He apologizes for not becoming a true friend. Kanan, holding back grief, tells him they are friends. Wolfie dies in his arms. QAnon and Freya climb the cliff to see Eric and the others waiting below in boats. As they descend, QAnon and Freya share a kiss. But QAnon doesn't stay. He tells Freya there's something he must do, something she knows may take him away forever. He returns to the wreckage of his ship, where it's revealed that his wife was aboard in stasis. Her capsule cracked during the crash, killing her. QAnon activates a distress signal on the ship's console. But watching from the forest, Freya sees him destroy it moments later, abandoning his chance to return home. Freya's voice closes the story, narrating how Wolfie and Hrothgar were laid to rest with the highest Viking honors. Kanan, once a stranger, became their new king. Freya became his queen, and young Eric, their adopted son. She finishes by honoring Kanan's sacrifice, sent by the stars, but choosing to stay with them. The film earns points for originality. The idea of a space traveler adapting to ancient culture and fighting an alien with swords and shields is imaginative. Visually, it delivers moody, medieval aesthetics, and the creature design stands out, especially considering the limited budget. But Outlander stumbles in tone and pacing. It takes itself too seriously for such a pulpy premise, and the dialogue often feels stiff. Despite a strong cast, characters lack depth, and the story never quite hits the emotional mark. Ambitious but uneven, Outlander is a fun curiosity for fans of genre hybrids, but not quite the epic it aims to be.